Hello, good morning from here, good afternoon, wherever you are, good evening. This is just an impromptu live. I actually wanted to announce that I was going to go live, but I wasn't sure of the timing. But I know people will watch replay later. Good day, everyone. Last week, I had a session with a fellow educator, Ivy, and we talked about a lot of things partnering for educational success in 2024 in 2025. Am I the only one still making mistake? I know there are some people who will still be saying 2024. I don't want to think I'm the only one, so and one of the things I said I was going to talk about is homework, because there just seems to be a debate on homework. Are we giving too much homework? Are we giving too little homework? Sorry, I'm trying to connect to Facebook. I want Facebook people to be able to. Okay, I'm coming because if I don't do this, when they come on, when they see me, some of them will not be able to see me because it will be on. I don't know why it's always showing privacy. Okay, I'm still here. Okay, yeah. Okay, so there's this just how much homework is too much, how much homework is should students be giving homework, shouldn't they be giving homework? You know, it's been a back and forth game. And if you have been like who was a school director and who's an educational consultant now, I'll tell you that it's an ongoing debate, where people feel, oh, this school, some parents will come complain that they are not giving my children enough homework. I don't like it. When they come back from school, they have time to go and play, play so much, do this, do that, And that group of parents will come and tell you, the homework you're giving my children is too much. I mean, after studying 8 hours in school, coming back home, then they have to come and start sitting down, to start writing again, start doing this, start doing that, and you have this group, and everyone seems like it's a valid thing. Should don't give, and then you have the school sometimes caught in the middle, because they don't even they're trying to parent engagement. I'm trying to listen to you, and then you're also trying to listen to the group that says no, don't give homework day. I remember one of those PTA meetings. It was such a big debate. Some group said there should be a homework free day. Another group said no, that when you give homework free day, you see children playing and all. And it has always been that way. Now, I want to say before I even start, I would like to share a bit of history, so that we can understand the context for people who are new. My name is Irene Ndiduba. I'm an educator, I'm a public speaker, I'm an author, and most importantly, I'm God's child, and I convey, praying with our children, So I have a ministry arm, where I believe that prayers, I pray for our children, but I also know that there's a place of knowledge, So I'm an educator. I've been an educator for over 11 years now, and most of the things I share them from the experience in the class, experience of running a school, and experience of one-on-one consulting, with parents, So let's look at it. What is really the history of homework? How did homework actually start? Now, one school of thought or one research group says that homework started, we know that the way education started in those days, education was an illicit thing. It wasn't something that the ordinary people could afford. It was something that was just for the so-called bourgeois in the society then. So what they did was that they had home tutors who came to their homes to come and teach their children. So, and after being taught, the children, they were taught, real academic work, and then after that, the children were allowed to go for other extracurricular activity like learning how to play the piano, how to ride a horse, how to swim and all. So that was how school, as we knew it then, because the not the poor then needed their children to work on the farms, so they took their children to the farm and they couldn't afford even the education, even the few schools that existed. Why the illicit, the bourgeois had people come to the house to teach them if their children didn't really go to formal private school where that was quite expensive in those days, So that was how, so there was really, when the home tutors took them at home, they took them for like an average of 8 hours. and they didn't um they didn't give them any homework when they were done. They allowed them to go and do extracurricular, go and learn swimming, go and learn cooking, go and learn baking or something after school. So fast forward now, during the Soviet Union, between the Soviet Union and America, when they had this war, I think, is it the Cold War we call it or something? Now, schools were already functioning. Some middle class people were already taking their children to school. But even at that time, school just closed and children were allowed to go home and play or go and learn a thing or two. But when the Soviet Union, the USSR in those days, the Russia and their group were having issues with America. Americans decided, the schools in America said, okay, we needed to produce more, what do they call them? More scientists, more doctors. It was like a competition to outshine to outshine America, to outshine the Soviet Union. So what they did then was to now give extra work. So what they did after teaching children in school, they gave them homework, go home, go and study more, because there's a target, that kind of thing. We need to beat the Russians, hands down in with the kind of students we are producing. So that was how homework came about. Of course, there are other, when it comes to history, documented history, there are usually people who come up, there are different, history, but this is one of the most popular one of how homework came about. So now that we know the history, I also like us to look at what is the benefit. Is there benefits to children getting homework after school? Is there benefits to children having spent 8 hours in school and get back home? Is there benefits to them going home with extra home work from school? Research has it that, which I also agree, that homework teaches responsibility to children, actually. When you get home, you know that, oh, I need to go and do this. I have a homework. So it helps them to structure their time. So a child knows that by the time I get home, maybe by 3:30 or thereabouts or 4 p.m., I take, if it's in your routine, I don't know if you watched my video one time where I did talked about routine after school, so maybe when I come back, I take my lunch, I take a siesta, or I take a bath, a nap, I take a bath, and then I start my homework. So already there's a responsibility it confers on the child. It begins to teach the child process, structure. So it's beneficial. It also helps to reinforce concepts the child learns in school. So the child comes back home and then, they've learned certain things in school, and then, the homework helps the child to reinforce, those concepts. It also helps children to develop study habits. You know that you're not going to play all through, still have some schoolwork to do, So, but the point is, yes, it is beneficial. I agree, it's beneficial, you know, but has the system been abused? Yes. Yes, because sometimes, when you don't know the purpose of your thing, they said abuse is inevitable. So I also get the fact that even some educators do not really, really know the purpose for homework. Some teachers do not really, really know the purpose of homework, and some parents as well. Because if a parent really knows the purpose of homework, is part of it is to teach responsibility. You wouldn't be getting a lesson teacher to come and teach your child homework. I mean, for starters, is what the child learns in school. Why would you even get a lesson teacher to come and teach the child that? So we need to now understand, how do we find that balance? How do we, what is the best practice, so to say, quote and unquote, best practice when it comes to children going with homework? What's the best practice for schools? And I'm hoping that school leaders will watch this video later. I'm hoping that teachers will watch this video, and even parents will also watch this video. Because, like I say, there is no effective learning. You can never have an effective learning outcome or educational outcome without cooperation of the school, the teacher, and then the parents, and of course the child. It is cooperative thing. It's a group project. Actually, it's a group project. You cannot have the school doing their part and parents are not doing their part, or you cannot have parents doing their part, the school is not doing their part, and you cannot have both doing their part. The child itself is not doing this. So it's a cooperative thing. So now, so what is this best practice? I know that all over the world, they have looked at ways, especially researchers, and one particular research that intrigued me is a research from John Hopkins University. Let me get the name. I don't want to miss the woman's name. What's her name again? Joyce Epstein. She did the research. She's a researcher. In John Hopkins. And that's a reputable institution. And what she said is that for homework to actually be effective, the teacher themselves must do their own homework. What does it mean for you as a teacher? That you as a teacher must do your own homework as well, because you don't just wake up. And I know that for school leaders, it's just very few schools that really, really teach teachers how to structure homework, you know. So, and then, like Ivy said last week, you see that there's pressure. Today, parents are saying the homework is not that much. You see the teacher rushing to pile homework that they won't even mark. And when you're not going to evaluate a thing, why give it? I mean, you need to evaluate to know if the child did well, what you gave the child to do. So there's that, So according to this research, it says that the teachers themselves should do homework. We can't throw the baby and the bathwater away. We have seen the benefit of homework. We have seen the benefits, very good benefits. Children learn even discipline, you know, discipline of being away from the classroom, the school setting, and then being able to sit down and do their work. That is discipline, and that's one of the skills. But in giving of homework, we need to also look at it that what skills, and this is what schools will begin to ask themselves. This is what teachers need to be asking themselves. What skills do we want to bring out in a child when we're giving homework? And you convey it to the parents as well, because the best of all this is having a proper family engagement. Like someone will say that when children come to school, they came with their family too. You're only seeing the child actually, but the child is there with the family, but you can see the child, and that is why family engagement is so key, which is one of the areas as an educator, I am big on right now, family engagement. Now, so the child comes to school, the child came with the family, but you're seeing Junior sitting on the chair, or you're seeing a Peculiar just on the chair, but the child is there with the family. So now you look at it, what skill do you really want that child to get from that homework? Because from the beginning of you setting your lesson plan as a teacher, your and the school leaders, thank God the term is just starting, and all. From the beginning of setting your school plans, your lesson plan, and all, how to your teaching materials, and all, the homework should be captured. What skill do I want this child to get? What skill do I want these children to get from the homework? Because one of the things and one of the complaints why even proponents of, because I'm telling you, this is not just a Nigerian debate, it's not just a Canada debate, it's a world debate. Yeah, this homework thing is a world debate. It's all over the world, people for and against it. Now, one of the things this research shows is that a lot of children, the problem is that you are giving them too much homework, and you're giving them homework that is monotonous. What do I mean by monotony? You taught me, let me say, for instance, you taught me how to write. No, okay, let me use math. You taught me how to count, counting forward and counting backwards. Let me give for instance, or you taught me how to do division or fraction, and then I go back home. You now tell me, go to page so so and so, go and solve that fraction there. I do it today. Tomorrow again, you tell me go to page 5, go to page 5, 6, and 7. And then sometimes you have this homework, 3 teachers are giving you, you have three homework. And when I'm talking first from grade levels. I'm not even just talking about primary school. I'm not talking of early years yet. I'll come to their level. I'm talking of primary and secondary now. So now you have 3 teachers or 4 teachers are giving you homework for the day. And they tell you, go to biology page this and that. Do page 2, page 3, and page 10. Then English will come, do page 5, page 9, and page 11, and then you have these things. And then there's monotony. The fact that it's still what I have been taught in the class, and they are telling me to come and do almost exactly. And even some, and the ones, in fact, the one that pains me is the one that you didn't even teach the child. Have you seen where teachers will tell you, they taught you division without remainder? Then the homework will now for you is for you to go and do division with remainder. Who is supposed to teach that child that concept of division with remainder? So you see parents already angry because I'm coming back from work, I'm tired. This is not the concept you taught this child in the class, but that is the concept, that is what you are giving the child as homework. In other words, you're telling me as the parents now to come. I'm not saying that parents should not guide their children in homework, but what it means is that you're telling me. So you now see some parents even using their handwriting. I've been a school leader, so I know what I'm telling you. I've seen parents sit in the car park and then they are just using their writing in a funny way to just complete the homework and just let the child turn it in. The aim of that homework is already defeated. And that is why, as schools and school leaders, teachers, school leaders, you need to sit down and ask ourselves, what is the skill? What is the purpose? What is the objective of giving children homework? When we establish that objective, then we'll now go, what will now be the strategy? What strategy are we going to use to achieve this objective? Because insanity is doing the same thing and expecting a different result. You can't be doing the same thing year in, year out. Children doing haphazard thing and bringing back. Obviously, there are some it's their parents that did for them. That means you're not, the aim for the so-called homework is not working. So now you need to sit down and re-strategize. And that was what our research was all about. Research said that with the teachers, the school leaders need to do their own homework. Now, let me give you, for instance, that you need to make homework to become interesting. You need to make homework to become interactive. You need to make homework to be involving. So that it's not the same thing you tell me to go to page 110 and copy something there, and that is the homework. I really don't know the skill you're trying to bring out with that. And truly, I know there's pressure on school, there's pressure on everybody. But like I said, we need to look at what learning outcomes do we want. It's a reverse tech thing, reverse tech. Before you start it, you ask yourself, reverse, what outcome do we want? So, for instance, let me give an example. You teach a child, let's say measurements, yeah, which is a topic in maths, at least in Nigerian curriculum, in most curriculums. You teach measurements, yeah. So now the child you've taught, and that measurement, sometimes they give you 3 weeks anyway. But you see, what we do is you teach the child measurements, and then you now tell the child, go to this, write the problem in lesson this in the book, go and solve it. Why can't you say to the child, when you get home, measure your bed, measure your bed, and use the formula to calculate the area of your bed? I mean, there's an interest. The child has a bed in the house. The child is already excited. So you mean I'm going to know the size of my bed? Oh my God, this bed I've been sleeping on for years. You have gotten a child that is already enthusiastic for that homework. So the child gets home. And then when you're giving such homework, you don't expect the child to turn it in the following day. No, ma. No, sir. We must learn to begin to give children, depending on their classes, homework for 2 or 3 days. Measure your bed, measure this. And from the beginning of the term, you would have told parents, these are the things we'll be needing for the term. We need measurement. Because don't assume that every parent has, what's it called, tape rule in their house. It's not every parent that has that. As simple as it might think it is, not every parent has that. So the child is excited. Measure your bed, measure your fridge, get the dimension of your fridge, measure your freezer. That is an interesting, the child is looking forward to it. In fact, if you don't add measure your TV, the child will measure TV. I'm telling you the truth. Because already the child is interested. Is the things that the child can relate with at home. Why would I do, after doing the textbook on in school, I get back home, I'm still doing the textbook on? No. We need to get creative. And we're talking about children, the Gen Alphas, Gen Zs, Gen Alphas. They are not like us. So the child will own the homework because, one, he owns a bed. Two, there's a fridge or freezer in his house. He will even go and measure chair you did not send him or her because the interest has already been aroused. Teachers, educators, let's get out of this box. We're not slaves to textbook. We are not. Let's get out of the box. Let's begin to think. Just give the child, go and measure this, measure that. And the child goes around in the home. You taught colors. You taught colors. Maybe for nursery two or something, what you call nursery two in Nigeria. You say, okay, when you get into your estate, count every red cars in your estate. Not to go and tell the child, open the textbook, look for color red. No, the child will be interested. Count every red car in your estate. And okay, be by the window or come out maybe with the mom or the house help. Mommy, see red car there. Red car just passed. One, another red car, two, another red car. We need to go beyond this thing we are doing. We need to go beyond it. Well, I'm sorry if I'm sounding harsh, but truly we need to go beyond it. You're going to teach a child, you're an English teacher, you have done argumentative essay. These letters you give children say, oh, write to the Minister of Works that why should bridges write to, and they can have some example in those textbooks that existed even before the child. They said if you were the when Mamsa, the day I saw that one in a textbook, I cringed. I said, Mamsa, I was probably in primary three in the 90s when the Mamsa by I think Professor Jerry Gana or somebody. They said if you were the one in charge of Mamsa program, mass mobilization for waiting social and that, go and write to the minister. Who does that? Who? So why can't you tell the child when you get home, interview your parents, ask your parents that in your time, what kind of music did they play? Old school. Okay, they will tell you the kind of music, and then you are the new school. Write an argumentative essay on old school and new school music using the interview from your parents and your knowledge of your Gen Z music. And you think the child will not be interested in writing that? See, let's stop making education boring for children. Let's stop making education boring. Let's make education relatable. Let's stop making lessons look like something that when a child is done, they just throw that book away forever. Because if you do not steer the love of learning for children, which is my own mantra as an educator, you need to steer their love for learning. If not, you have another generation of those who pass exam and throw the books away. And that has been the situation in Nigeria and some third world countries. So we need to have that. We need to look at innovative and interactive style. And when you're doing that, you see that the parents are also involved. Oh, mom, on Saturday, I'm going to interview you about, and mother said, oh, wow, about the music in your time. I'll interview you and daddy about the music in your time because I need to write an essay. I know the music in our time. I know all the musicians. I don't call their names, but I need to hear from you. What did you learn? Music did you play in your time? And the child interviews the parent. So the parents' involvement is there, is interactive, is bonding. You're even increasing the bond between the child and the parents. It could be even when you did what's it called? Home economics. And then say, mommy, the assignment could be list all the local ingredients they use in cooking or house soup if you're an Igbo child. List the ingredients they use in cooking miya kuka if you're from the north. And then write whatever, and then the child like, okay, mommy, so Ohana, let's start. You're increasing, but don't go and tell the child define what is soup. Give 3 examples of Nigerian soup. The same thing you taught the child in the class. What is soup? Give example of Nigerian soup, and the child has done homework and brought back for you. And then you are feeling like, no, 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 no. This is 2025. Please change, repent. And parents too, when they bring some of this, encourage the children. So I will define what is soup. 3 Nigerian soup. The child got right, Ogbono, Egusi, and Afang. Why can't you tell the child, you're from where? You're from Uyo. Write out the ingredients for making Afang soup. And the child will go and meet the mother. Mommy will tell him periwinkle. Okay, don't worry, I'm even cooking Afang this weekend. We'll do it together. So we need to, and you need to get to the point where you could do your innovative with this homework that even the children, who are struggling are excited to do the homework. Because we also have every class has the struggling ones. That's why we have differentiated instructions and so on. But the fact that you're able to make homework interesting, even the struggling ones will do it and turn it in. So we cannot continue giving boring homework. We cannot continue giving the same thing and so on. Write 5 sentences, write, define this. No, We can't continue that way. Even for some of this grade one, what is a verb? Doing word. Don't go and tell the child define verb again. An action word. Tell the child, when your daddy and mommy at home, do give 5 expressions of verb for them. Jump in. Okay, so and the child does it. And with technology now, do video. Send in video. A lot of schools are using Google Classroom. And these things are so easy now. Google Classroom, Class Dojo, you can set them up. You don't even need to have very tech team. In 2020, when COVID started, my daughter was, I think 13 of us. She was the one that set up the whole IT platform we used to run COVID classes for the children. She set up Google Classroom and I think Class Dojo. And it didn't cost us anything. So you could have Google Classroom for that. That children are say, okay, your homework is demonstrate verb actions for your parents, and the child is jumping. There's a video, small video, 30 seconds, 20 seconds, they upload on Google Classroom. The child is running, clapping. It will be so interesting for the child. In 2025, please stop overloading children with so much homework that they do not have time to breathe. It's not even good for them. It's not good for their mental health. It's not good for their love for learning because they begin to hate learning. It's not good. And there's this thing called 10 minutes rule. I know that in Nigeria, people say, I was on 10 minutes rule. 10 minutes rule says that every homework you give a child should be 10 minutes up for each grade. So if your child is in grade one, the teacher is supposed to give the child 10 minutes homework. That is the 10 minutes rule. Even though it might not be that practical, grade 2, 20 minutes. Grade 3, 30 minutes. Grade 4, 40 minutes. Grade 5, 15 minutes. Grade 6, 60 minutes. Don't spend grade 6, you're not supposed to spend more than 1 hour in doing homework. Grade 7, which is called JS1, you know, 70 minutes. Grade 8, up to grade 12, 120 minutes. So a child in SS3, which is what is called in Nigeria, which is what we call grade 12, is not supposed to spend more than 2 hours on homework. That's what the 10 minutes rule says. So even if you're not going to use the 10 minutes rule exactly, at least stay within that boundary. Don't go and give a child in grade 1 hour homework to do. They give children in nursery school. I'm coming now to early years. Or giving a child in early years 1 hour, 45 minutes homework. And you think that child will not be, you're not giving that child educational trauma? Then you now come the following day to now discipline the child for not doing the homework 1 hour, 45 minutes for a 3-year-old, some 2.5 years. Excuse you. Who bewitched us? Who bewitched us? Who did this to us? Then you now start flogging the child for not doing that. You're causing what is called educational trauma on the child. I will do a video on educational trauma later. And I also do a video on lesson teacher. But I just hope, I don't want to spend so much time on this. I don't want the video to be so long because research has also shown that when videos are long, people just move it to the end and see what is the end of the matter. What is the end of the matter, what she's saying, So for early years, to give practical things for the child to do. Practical. If you're the type that has infused a bit of life skill or from Montessori, when the child get home, you taught the child how to lace shoe. Homework, lace your shoe when you get home. They lace it, they show where they are lacing it, put on Class Dojo. You see it there. Homework is done. Learn when you get home, you learned how to turn water without spilling. Turn water for your mom or your dad into the cup or the bottle without spilling. Picture reading, bedtime stories, things that would make them love school because that is the entry. They are just coming into the world of school. And the way you introduce the world of school with them will determine how they really, really will love. They'll become lifelong learners. So if the world of school is being introduced as, hectic, annoying, very uptight, that is what they grow with. So I'm hoping with these few points of mine, I've been able to convince you, those days when we do debates, but not to confuse you that homework is good, but you must, first of all, Find out what do you want to achieve, what skill do you want to bring out in the child, what is the goal, the objective of that homework, what skill do you want to bring out, and then the strategy to make it innovative and interactive and interesting for the child. Thank you. Until I see you again. Bye. Join me. I'm going to be having prayers. You say she will still pray. Yes, so I'm going to be having prayers in my next video. I'm going to be praying for adult children today. And I've been doing prayers, and the Lord just the early this week, the Lord kept, nudging me to do prayer, with parents for adult children. And I know I didn't announce it just because I wasn't sure if I'll be able to come on live today, you know, but I know people will watch later by the grace of God, that we need to pray for our adult children. If you even have little children, pray ahead of their future. So join me in a moment.